Yo,
What is
we
up,
back.
y'all? We back. And
We
I
back.
did it outside this time with a blanket.
Yeah, that's a big deal, man. Is that a blanket fort or just a blanket?
It's just the blanket. We ain't got the blanket for it yet, but that is coming. We will have to do a live Wednesday night blanket for it. It has to happen
Next week, let's do it.
next week. That'll be
Informational.
That's what you get when you make me run your last minute errands.
So, what's up, everybody? Why did you pick those cards? Oh, good. We got the real cards here. Okay, perfect. That's coming later, my friends. We got some exciting things in store for you. So, wow. Well, we got Esther and Micah here. We've got Ivy here. We've got, I think Isaiah's watching as well.
Yes, I am.
So
Yes,
that's pretty cool. We're gonna let some people jump in here. Ekpos and Ivy, throw in the chat. How's it been going? What you been doing during this quarantine world?
Happy April Fool's Day.
It is April Fool's Day.
It's April Fool's Day.
John Mark.
But nothing's funny right now. That Rona got everybody serious.
Yeah, I know.
Ain't
I haven't
nothing
seen
funny.
any jokes today.
You know what?
Ain't nothing funny.
Any jokes yet?
I saw like one joke. That was it.
I'm gonna scare Graydon so bad tonight.
Oh,
Just wait
get ready.
for it on
I'm scared.
on Instagram stories.
I'm scared.
I'm scared. Yo, we got Abigail Sones in the comments. We got Sam in the comments. We got Chloe in the comments. What's up, everybody?
What up?
Oh, school is finished for the week. It's Wednesday right now.
Those Ekpos, they worked ahead.
That's amazing.
That's what it's like being homeschooled, man. You can work ahead.
What's up, Jacob?
That's true.
Oh,
Jacob.
Still actually.
No, it's Ariel.
Ariel, get your own YouTube account. What's going on?
Ian says ...
Ian is not sure. He's just pausing.
Lizzie and Becca.
What's up, Albrights?
Boom.
Wait, why isn't Jacob Tico on here? Why is it just Ariel? Jacob, where are you?
I don't know.
Maybe Jacob's
Shaking my
still eating
head.
dinner.
Shaking my head. SMH, if you will. Oh man. So Isaiah, what have you been up to today?
Today I woke up and I watched the musical A Chorus Line with Lauren, and
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
she was in
she
a musical mood this morning, so that's what we watched. And
Wait,
then
is she always in a musical mood?
she's pretty much in a musical mood all the time. Like, we watched Jersey Boys last night, so I've watched 2 musicals in the past 24 hours. It's pretty
impressive.
It's pretty impressive. And then, what else did I do today? It's hard to remember, man. It's hard. You be indoors all day. Oh, I went to the grocery store at like 6:30 in the morning. Went shopping.
You get some TP?
Actually, I didn't need any.
Senior hours, Isaiah.
No, those were not senior hours. Senior hours on
your hair is gray and then go
Tuesday and Thursday. Yeah, I got this like gray stuff I put in my hair to like make myself a senior. Walking with a cane. It's pretty impressive.
Wow.
So I went to the store and we walked our dog on this like abandoned playground near where we live. So that was interesting. And yeah, now I'm on a call with you. And
is it always abandoned or just abandoned because of Rona?
Nah, it's always abandoned. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad looking.
Wow.
It's pretty old. Yeah.
Breaking news, everyone. Jake Tickle is a heretic, and that's why he's not here.
Wow.
That's breaking news in the chat.
That is that's deep.
That's intense.
Sounds like news coming from an older sister.
Sounds like I need to call the theology police. Jay, happy April Fool's Day to you as well. And that's not a joke. I'm really, truly wishing that you would have a happy April Fool's. Joel, what's up, Joel? Good evening, everybody.
We got John Mark dabbing.
We got a lot of dabs in the comments.
Yes.
They're called elbow cough.
Is that a dab? It's a dab.
I think that's an elbow cough. It's a
looks
sanitary.
Like a dab.
That looks like a dab. That looks like a dab, straight up.
That's how I cough. Hey, so we have a special question for everyone in the chat comments here.
Yes.
We need to know the real important questions. We need to know which superhero is most likely to defeat coronavirus. Please let us know your thoughts. There's a lot of good ones out there, but not all of them are suited to beat a virus. So I want to know who's going to get that done. What do you think, man? Do you have a different
Obviously,
opinion?
Elastamom, right?
Elastigirl, not
What?
Elastamom.
That's the mom?
I mean, the mom version of her.
Okay.
The mom version of her.
Elastamom.
Not when she was a girl. Elastamom.
Classic mom. Every superhero should be known whether or not they're a mom. Wow. Oh, the Albright said Jesus, which is obviously the correct answer. Yes.
That is, John Mark says
Ant-Man?
John Mark.
Ant-Man is a good one. Ant-Man could get small and he could get in the virus's, natural habitat. So it's a good one.
Wow.
John Mark said himself. So
Captain America.
John Mark. Dun, 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 dun. That's pretty good. Captain America. Well, America's not doing so hot right now with the coronavirus, so maybe. Ooh, we got another vote for Ant-Man. Wonder Woman? Possible.
Yep, she said the same thing.
I never saw Wonder Woman, that movie. I heard it was good.
You never saw Wonder Woman?
I've never seen any of the superhero movies.
Well,
that's not true. I saw one Batman.
Except the one about Elastamom.
And Elastamom.
Okay, we got some good. Oh, we got Black Panther on there. Wakanda Forever, obviously.
Come on now.
We got some more Ant-Man votes. Isn't Mrs. Incredible? Yeah, Elastamom is Mrs. Incredible, aka Elastigirl, aka Mrs. Incredible.
I think Elastamom is.
I like Elastamom. We all like Elastamom best, right?
Bible Man, yes.
I think her
vote.
Bible Man was
Bible
the
Man.
best.
I haven't heard Bible Man.
I saw Bible Man live one time at Prestonwood.
You saw Bible Man?
What?
He came to VBS, and I was there.
Oh snaps!
Yep.
I didn't know.
Did he save the day?
Celebrity is so important.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm sensing some sass from Maya. She said, Graydon, it's Jesus. I feel like that Graydon, was not necessary, and it feels very, very sarcastic. So watch yourself.
Wow.
Iron Man. We got Iron Man. Superman. I was waiting for a Superman. I mean, he's like the obvious choice. He can do
Superman is whack.
But how would he beat Corona, though?
Lily said Christina.
Oh, because I'm a mom, right? Lily's so sweet.
Yes.
Oh
First
man.
place I'm gonna go after Corona's over is to Lily's house and give her a hug.
Awesome. Well, now Lily's mad at you. You haven't seen any superhero movies? Yep, she's that weird, folks. I'm sorry. Well, I made you watch like one of them one time.
I probably fell asleep.
Yeah, she falls asleep during movies.
That's so sad. That's so sad that she will not let you enjoy superhero movies.
It's not sad. He gets to enjoy them when I'm asleep. It's great.
It's like me in wrestling. Lauren does not.
I would just be
She
like rolling my eyes.
refuses. Lauren refuses to watch wrestling.
Because it's stupid.
Lauren says it's
Wrestling.
I wouldn't watch wrestling with you either. I would watch it to make fun of it.
Hey, don't hate. WrestleMania is this weekend in an empty stadium. It's gonna be lit. I can't wait.
In an empty
can't.
stadium.
It's in an empty stadium.
So no wrestlers? Or?
They always play off the
No,
crowd.
the wrestlers will be there. It's just they'll be fighting in front of no one. It's gonna be great.
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable.
Funniest thing.
Wow. Well, thank you guys for your submissions. Those were some wonderful ideas. And
She was talking about me not seeing the superhero movies, not me being a superhero. Wow, Lily.
Oh, the truth comes
I
out.
take it back. I'm not coming to your house to give you a hug.
Shots fired. Wow. Okay.
That's pretty funny.
Anyway.
I love you anyway.
Lily, you better watch out. Christina's mad right now. She is piping hot.
Clearly.
Okay. Anyway, so thank you guys for your submissions. Also in this chat, you guys throw out some questions or thoughts that you have. We'll answer any question you got. I mean, throw out the hardest questions about suffering, about God, and we will answer them. Obviously, obviously, because we know everything. Just kidding. But we'll answer them the best that we can. So throw in some questions if you got them. Throw in some thoughts, some takeaways even if you got to watch the teaching video. If you didn't get to watch it, make sure you go watch it because it's about suffering and how we can learn about that and what we can take away about it in this season. So it's going to be important for us. But I think that it's important that we let you know that something exciting is happening next week. Because as many of you know, actually, I already saw Joel talking about it in the chat. Easter is coming up very soon.
Yes, it is.
This Sunday is Palm Sunday.
Yes.
And so it's about to be Holy Week. And so during Holy Week, we're still going to do this on Wednesdays. We're going to put out a teaching. We're going to go live on Wednesday night. But we want to let you know that we're going to be actually having kind of an Easter-themed message about the big question is, why did Jesus have to die? Why did Jesus have to die on the cross? And so we're going to talk about that. What really happened on the cross anyway? But because it's Easter and we get excited, we're also going to have an Easter giveaway. For anyone who gets on our live video next week, you're going to be entered into a drawing to get a prize. It's going to be exciting. And so make sure you don't miss out on the live next week because it's Easter and everybody wins at Easter. Am I right?
Anyone who gets on or anyone who participates in the chat.
Oh, well, you gotta throw a chat out there because then we don't know you're there if you don't chat, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, make sure you get in there next week and put a comment in. As soon as you comment, you're entered in to win a special Easter prize. So it's going to be awesome. I might just send you 1,000 peeps in the mail. That might be the prize. I don't know.
Whoa, that is no prize because peeps are nasty.
Oh, wow. We got a hot take.
Peeps are disgusting.
That
is not a hot take.
Opinion.
Yeah, peeps
it's
are kind of
a very
gross.
popular opinion.
Peeps are
Peeps are disgusting.
Emily Wardlaw likes peeps, and my grandmother likes peeps. I think that's the whole list.
Grandma, if you're watching, I'm sorry. You got bad tastes. Oh, sorry.
She really watches.
I mean, sorry, Grandma.
This is live. You can't take it back.
You can't take it back. It's out there now. It's out there
now.
forever.
You can't take it back.
Sam is moving to Germany.
Oh.
Not sure why. Deacon Rogers is in the house. What's up,
Deacon?
Deacon.
Feel the marshmallow. I don't want to feel the marshmallow, you weirdo. Anyway, I don't know. I'm assuming that was Micah. I don't think that Esther would say that. So, Micah, come on, man. Come on, keep it classy.
Keep it classy.
Keep it classy, people. Okay. Any other just personal updates, Isaiah? Anything interesting that you've learned about or done this week?
Oh, I've watched The Office for the 8th time.
The whole thing?
All the way through?
This
No,
week?
I'm going through it again.
It's like, dude, did you sleep?
I will be done probably by the end of quarantine. I'll be done with the season again. Oh man, such a great show. It's so great. You just turn it on. It could just be in the background, and it's great. You already know all the episodes.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's quotable. It's amazing.
It's quotable. It's fantastic. I don't watch the episode when Michael leaves because it makes me too sad. So I normally skip after that episode.
It's good to get emotional every now and then, though. Get those tears out.
Nah, man.
Emotions are good, Isaiah.
That's right.
It's okay.
We affirm your emotions right now. I found something pretty cool this week.
Okay.
And, a lot of us sports people are kind of sad these days. There's not a lot of sports on, except for replays.
Wrestling's on.
Don't
We're
talk
talking
about
about
wrestling.
sports, Isaiah.
Yeah, that's not a
talking
sport,
about
man. I'm sorry, it's not. I'm sorry. Okay, but anyway, this, what I'm about to show you, it is a sport. It's the only sports that really matters at this point. Because it's the only thing that's really going down, and that is marble racing.
Woo-hoo.
Can you believe it? It's 2020, and we have YouTube channels of marble races. I mean, it's just beautiful. So I'm going to share my screen because I want y'all to see how cool this is. So here we go. Let's do this. If I can get it. Okay. Hopefully it's working. All right. So check this out. This is a legitimate marble race match. Check this out, everyone.
How will the competitors we just saw there react to this course?
They've got commentators and everything.
Lights are on. They're in the blocks and ready to go.
They're in the blocks. They're ready to go.
And we're rolling.
And we're rolling.
Oh my gosh. Gravity's happening, guys.
First place. A challenge from Vespa. She goes high on the curb
How
Oh,
did she switch both start the front?
it's a season. They're going. It's like the standings. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, they get a place. But look, he went to the pit stop. What's wrong with him? Wow, there was a lead change, guys. I mean, this is just scintillating.
Scintillating?
It's scintillating. Y'all don't know that word?
I heard just scintillating.
Why did you just say scintillating?
This is purely scintillating, everyone. I'm excited. This is sports. I miss sports.
2 of 14 laps. Wow.
Anyway, I'll spare y'all the rest of those
Well,
details.
who wins though?
Well, it's like a 15,000-hour race. Okay, I don't know how to get this back. Okay, are we back? I think we are. Anyway, that's pretty amazing. So I hope you guys are enjoying those
No,
marble
we're-
races.
oh,
There's like 500,000 views on that video.
wow.
Seriously.
It's all the NFL players.
John Mark said innovation level 1 quadrillion. That's amazing. Sport of the century. I agree.
Or at least of the month.
Deacon remembers being up till 3 a.m. watching this and Hot Wheels.
Yes.
I can't say it was a bad choice because that is purely scintillating, my friends.
Oh my gosh! If you have a word of the day, we should have a word of the week.
Man. Come on.
It's scintillating.
So Jade said so much suspense. Seriously, I mean, this is getting me my sports
Okay,
fix.
what
So
did
y'all
you want?
don't judge me. Well, you know what? You can go back and watch it yourself.
Look at it.
We have more important things to do than watching marble racing, my friends.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you
says.
so much. You're welcome. You are welcome. Now you can be one of the masses that are watching that awesome video about marbles racing. Wow. It's
Wow.
incredible. He's also got really creative names for all the colors. I just think it's, wow, what a quality YouTube channel. Marble Race Guy, if you're watching, please subscribe to our channel. I'm going to give you shout outs often.
Have
And
you subscribed to his?
not yet, but I will.
Wow.
I will. Hey, everybody calm down.
Wow.
Please don't persecute
Always
me.
asking for handouts. This
Wow.
Listen, guy, Marvel guy. You're a great guy. I'll probably subscribe, and after this season, I might not tune in again once the Mavericks are back. But anyway,
That's so mean.
that's the cool thing that I learned about this week.
That's good.
So quarantine's gone pretty well, obviously. I inspired Abigail, so that's awesome. Oh yeah. Hey, Ekpos, yeah, let's get to 100 subscribers, by the way. Let's get this thing to 100.
Do it.
When we do that, we can make our own URL. We can customize it and make it Antioch Youth, and so it will be easier to share. So make sure you subscribe. Send the teaching video that came out this morning. Send it to like 3 friends each, and just let them know, hey, if you liked it, get a subscribe. We're trying to get this thing popping.
So the Albrights said that they don't see my tree. Hold up.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Wow, are those American flag swim trunks? Wow. Awesome.
Hey, don't talk about what I'm wearing. You only see the bottom.
Did you
top
bring
half.
that freaking tree home?
Nah, it's a different one. I have.
Oh my gosh.
And
Where are the Christmas lights?
the Christmas
Isaiah
lights.
and his tree.
They're in
Yeah.
my closet. But this is my outside tree that I have. My dog was chewing on this one, and yeah. So here it is. And
Your dog eats trees?
my dog sometimes eats the most random things. She was eating this branch. Do you have the dog? Lauren is sitting right here. Is the dog here?
Hi, Lauren.
Lauren, show
We love
yourself.
you.
Oh, Lauren says, everybody says, come show yourself.
Oh no.
Lauren doesn't have any makeup on and she's afraid to show herself.
I don't either. Look. This is
Christina
called
says she
I
doesn't
don't,
have
I don't
any.
either.
vulnerability, and
I don't
don't
have
do
any either.
purple.
Come on in. Come on, everybody say
Lauren,
subscribe.
Lauren.
Come on. Everyone wants to see you. They're all in the chat. They say they
We all
want to see
miss
you.
you.
They all want to.
Hello.
Oh gosh, you hit my head. Oh
You
my
look
god.
beautiful, Lauren.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
Chloe, come here. Oh, here's my dog. She's
No.
jumped in.
Why are
Hi.
you eating a tree, dog?
It's great.
Dog
All
can't
right, here we
understand
go.
me.
She'll pop in. She'll come in.
I just want you to know that the comments are very heated that you have another tree, that you're obsessed with trees. So Abraham needs to calm down. That's all I know. Oh man. So hey, I
Abraham
like
is
your
really
tree.
worried about
I
your
like
tree.
your tree. It's more seasonal
Yeah.
than previous tree. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough shenanigans, Isaiah.
Yeah, that's enough.
Please calm down.
It's
Enough
cat dog. Somebody says my cat dog is here.
Cat
So
dog.
that's good.
Cat dog quality television. Okay, well, Lily said that everyone's beautiful, so thank you.
Not everyone's a superhero, but everyone is beautiful.
Wow, for just who you are, you're beautiful. Okay, hey, let's transition this. Let's transition this to a little bit more serious. We're going to talk about the teaching that dropped this morning about suffering. Why does God allow suffering? And we want you to comment your questions in the chat. So if you've got a question, you want to go deeper on something, make sure you throw it up there because we're going to try to get to all those questions. We'll answer any question that you got. And we just want to talk about Jesus for a little bit and talk about this coronavirus, what's going on, how God's goodness is still true in the midst of really big suffering. And so anyway, I want to just throw it over to Isaiah and see like, hey man, what are some takeaways just as we've been thinking about this for a couple of days now? What are some takeaways? And guys in the chat, just throw it up a question and we'll get to that in a little bit. So we'll be watching that. But Isaiah, let's just throw it to you, man. What are some just takeaways on suffering and just what you're stirring inside of you?
Yeah, man. I think what's stirring inside me is that we're never suffering alone. Like, I think sometimes we feel like that suffering is something we just go through in isolation. But normally, like, everybody that you listed, Jesus, Job, Paul in that video, they always had somebody with them. You know, Jesus, even while he was suffering, like the disciples were suffering with him. Those that were with them, that was watching him carry the cross. And in Job, Job's friends, they weren't, the best friends, but they still were there. I mean, I love that story because even though that his friends might not have been had the best advice, they stayed with him throughout the whole story, and they were still with him. And then for Paul, like, he had Timothy, he had Titus, he had so many people walking with him. And I think that's like one of the big highlights of the video is like that I kind of just like saw was that none of them were alone. Is that like when you go through suffering, like it's okay to bring people in to help you out with that. So.
Yep, that's good, man. Yeah, and I think that one thing that you said, was interesting. Like, just for us, like we're filled with the Holy Spirit, and so the cool thing is that even us, like, even if you feel like, oh man, like I don't have friends that just constantly like hang out with me in the midst of suffering or anything like that, it's like you have the Holy Spirit with you all the time. Like God's presence is with you all the time. And one of the cool like ideas about this faith is that I never again have to be alone, because no matter what I'm going through, I know that God's going to be with me. I know that the Holy Spirit is going to be with me. And the Holy Spirit, specifically, one of the roles of the Holy Spirit is that he's with you so that he can be your counselor in hard times, and so that he can comfort you in hard times, and so that he can provide for you what you don't have on your own. And so I think it's good. I think it's really good that you're pointing out that we don't have to go through suffering alone. One thing that I was thinking about, just that we didn't have time to really talk about it, but I read this this article recently, and maybe I'll find that, or Isaiah, maybe if you can find that link and post it in the chat if anyone wants to check it out. But
Yeah,
one of my favorite theologians, N.T. Wright, was talking about lamenting. And so we talked about this a while ago, actually, with as a type of prayer, even lamenting. So lamenting is when you're really crying out to God, like, God, why am I going through this? Or God, where are you? God, why won't you come and fix this? And so I think that lamenting is really an important thing when we talk about suffering, because N.T. Wright's point was that Christianity doesn't really have like an answer for suffering, and it's not really supposed to. Like, it's not really our job is to have like some easy answer, And so I think there's things that we can learn about it and things that we should take away, but there's not an easy answer. But really, Christianity calls us to step into the suffering and let God work through it. And for us to cry out to God and say, God, where are you? God, can you come? Can you come and save me? Could you come and make things right? And that lamenting, crying out to God is actually a part of the process for us. It's actually a part of what we're called to be as Christians. It's part of our witness as the people who are saying we believe that there's a God who enters into the suffering with us, enters into the lamenting with us, and that's part of our witness. And so I think it's good. Like I came up with some like little things and little answers in that video, and I think that they're true and that those are important things for us to learn. But at the end of the day, there's no way to explain away when someone loses a loved one.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we can say, like some easy saying, like, well, at least they're in a better place or whatever, stuff like that. It's like, that doesn't really answer the question, why did this happen?
Yeah.
But God is inviting us to be compassionate and to enter into the suffering with each other, and knowing that Jesus too entered into the suffering for us and with us. I mean, he got sad, he cried when he was on earth. And so I think it's important that we realize that he's not above it all. Like he's entering into the lamenting and the sadness with us.
Yeah, man. I just think that it's not like a spiritual discipline we think about as at the forefront, but there's so much lamenting that happens in the book of Psalms. Like we think of prayer, we go to the book of Psalms in scripture, and David is lamenting so much in Psalms. Like it's crazy how much you go through the book of Psalms and you're like, man, David is just pouring out his heart to God. And he even says things that I'm like, I can't believe that somebody's saying this to God. But I think that that's what lamenting is. Lamenting, if I could put a definition on it, is like saying things to God that you think that you would never ever say. Like talking to God like as real as you possibly can. That's what lamenting is. Like it's okay to say like COVID-19, the coronavirus, this sucks right now. Like it sucks what's happening to the world. It sucks what's happening to my parents. It's like if they're losing their jobs or financial problems like this, that is how you lament, is like going and telling God, like, you know, things like this is like, it sucks and it's bad, but there's so much, I feel like, freedom and fruit in it when you go to God, because God already knows. Like, I think God already knows how much it sucks, and I think God already knows how much it's bad for you. But I think that he wants you to share that. Like he wants you to get that out of your heart. He wants you to get that out of your soul and give it to him, because I just know that he can take that and he can bring peace in that situation. I don't know. I don't really believe in being silent in suffering. I know that sometimes we say that, like we want people to be silent sufferers. I know that we were talking today with a few classmates about the topic of like suicide, like how that is like something that people they're suffering and that leads to death, but even their families after who have to deal with that loss of the loved one, it's okay to just like kind of feel it and just know that, hey, this is not the best situation. One of my best friends 5 years ago committed suicide, and like part of my walking through that was going to God. Like I remember going to God like every day for a good 3 to 6 months of just like, I don't know what to do, and I don't know why this happened. I don't know how this is like how are you good in this? And I felt like that was like the scariest question for me to ask at that age, of like, God, how can you be good even when all this is happening? And he showed like he is okay. God can handle it. God can take it. God can take those big questions, and he can show you his faithfulness even in those things. So I think it's something that we should be free like to do, and to bring God into those situations and into those things.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. I saw earlier that Abby was saying that she was liking how we talked about choice and how, you know, we can choose love, and the ability to choose is why we are able to love. And it's just true, right? I mean, if Christina, if I said I love you to Christina, and the only option was for her to say back I love you too, how could I ever know if it was real love? I mean, you have to be able to choose. And so but when there's an ability to choose, and there's ability to choose to not love, right? To the absence of love, which is really, I mean, suffering is not a thing in itself. It's more like the absence of the way things ought to be. It's the absence of love, right? It's the absence of things being made right. And so I think that's so important for us, because sometimes when we get into these discussions about suffering, then we feel like the world's out to get us or God's out to get us. And it's like, man, we forget all the moments of love that we've experienced because of other people's choices, right? And how cool is that we had that opportunity to be loved in a genuine love, because God gave us this choice. Now, that also means that we're going to be hurt by people.
Yeah.
And relationships, man, when you get close to somebody, you're opening yourself up an opportunity to be hurt because you're opening your heart to them. But I think that if we only focus on the bad and the suffering that comes out of that, we lose how much love we've experienced because of that, and how good God has been to us because He's allowed us to experience that love. Because if you were a robot, like, you know, we would say, oh, you'd be so miserable. It's like, well, we wouldn't even know that we were a robot. But man, that's no kind of life, you know.
Yeah.
You see people who, for whatever reason, have to get on like heavy medications, and it changes their personality, and they feel all robotic, and it makes you sad, right? Because there's an absence of choice. And so we have to know that that not every suffering is sent from God. Not every suffering is sent from heaven. And in actuality, we know from Scripture that suffering comes from someone else. It comes from the enemy. And that was another thing I was learning the other day about this parable in Matthew 13. I encourage everybody to go check it out. It's Matthew 13, 24 through 30. And it says that there's a parable where someone lays some seed, a farmer lays some seed, and in the night his enemy comes and sows seed of weeds in the middle of the crops, and he's trying to ruin this farmer's field. And the servant comes and tells him, and the farmer says, excuse me, the farmer says to him, an enemy has done this. And I think that I can confidently say, in the midst of suffering, in the midst of COVID-19, an enemy has done this. But the amazing thing is that, excuse me, God in His wisdom allows the weeds to grow up along the crops. You would think, okay, go tear it out. But if you tear it out, you tear up the roots of the crops too. And so in His goodness, He actually allows the suffering, the evil to come up alongside. And someday there will be a separation. But that's for now, because, you know, in His sovereignty, He knows why. But we may not know how, if you just removed all this evil, like, it could have ramifications. It could like actually change things. I mean, think about the creativity and ingenuity that's coming out of this time of crisis. Think about the doctors who have an opportunity to love and lay down their lives because of this. Think about the way that people are turning towards each other when maybe they haven't talked in years because they're struggling with isolation, right? And so to just rip the evil out, to rip the weeds out, it actually would uproot some of the crops. And so I think that Matthew 13 is showing us, listen, an enemy has done this, but God in His goodness knows how to deal with it better than we think we do.
Yeah, man, that's so good.
I love that that idea of like the choice as well. That when I first heard that, it really changed my perspective of really who God is, and even suffering as a whole, because you know, knowing God and knowing His character, it's easy for me to just think, hey, why wouldn't God just make all things? Why wouldn't God just make all things right in this world and just make us all choose the right thing all the time, you know? But that's because I love God. I have made a choice already to follow God, and not everyone has done that. And so and even for me, like, it's still, there's growth when I have an option to choose God or to not choose God. There's still growth in those areas. And so that really helped me even just see God for who He is, versus He's not just a controlling God. He's not just sitting up there wanting to just make everything look the way that we think it should look, you know. He wants our hearts. And that's just, it's not all about everything being good and right and perfect. It's about our hearts really longing for it and following after God. And so that idea of choice, and introducing suffering into that idea too, really shifted my perspective of God and of suffering.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, man, that's so good. It was a good video because just like what you were saying, Christina, of just like having choice was just a big deal. And I think me and Graydon talked about this like before, of just like God being such a good God, and we have to redefine what good is because of choice. Like that that subject of choice changes things, because when we think of like being a good parent, you might think of like protecting our child from certain things and making sure that there are certain like guidelines that happen in that child's life that they'll never have to experience. But I think that for God to be called good, he like the choices, the freedom that he gives us, it really changes kind of just that definition of what good is in my head. Because
Good.
now, like, what do I do now? Like, how do I be a good person? I think I give people a choice. Like, I don't go around like trying to dictate like what people should do for the rest of their life. I don't think like that anymore. And I think because it's just that's not the nature of God. Like, God gives everybody a choice, not
Yeah.
just people who believe in him. Like, he has given everybody a choice. And
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God's not manipulative. He's not controlling.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say like life maybe would be nicer if he was more controlling, right?
Yeah.
But he would also would be manipulative, and
Yeah.
we usually call manipulation love, right? And so when it's like when we're saying that oh, God's in control, it's like, yeah, he's in control. He's in control of as much as he wants to be in control of.
Yeah.
But he also gives us the ability to choose, and he doesn't manipulate things into happening. And that's one reason that you can trust. Like, if people always wonder, like, am I saved or not? It's like, hey, if God is inside you and you're experiencing redemption in your life, you can trust that that's happening, because God, it's not fake. God wasn't manipulating you into it. Like, if you've got real, true life going on inside of you, it's good. Like, it's good, and you know that it's real because you made a choice, and those things don't happen on your own. And so I think it's a good point, man.
Yeah.
One question I saw earlier from Micah was he was asking about what if someone well, I missed it. I wrote it down somewhere. If someone does good but they don't know Jesus, do they go to heaven? Kind of just a salvation question here. And I think Mike is a great question. And ultimately, the only one who really knows is Jesus, the judge, because, man, I'm so glad that Jesus is our judge and that I don't have to be the judge, because I don't want that job, man. I don't want that job at all. I think I would do a pretty lousy job of it. And so really the only person who knows is Jesus. He knows who has genuinely chosen to follow him. But things that we do know that are, external signs that people have actually found a saving relationship with God, that would be like the fruit of the Spirit. Are there the fruit of the Spirit in their life? Is the Holy Spirit working in their life? Have they said, like, publicly, like, I'm following Jesus? Do they trust that Jesus really rose from the dead? That's like a pretty ancient way of telling is someone actually following Jesus. And it's not just about good works, but it's also like we need to do some things with our lives. If you just say with your mouth, like, oh yeah, I follow Jesus, and there's never a single bit of living like Jesus in your life, then you probably missed something about him. You probably didn't really understand the good news, because in the ancient world, so we talk about grace. Grace is like an unmerited gift, right? It's like God gave us grace when we didn't deserve it, and praise God for that. It's true. But in the ancient world, grace was seen as it wasn't really, it hadn't really happened until you received it and then you gave it back. Grace and gift are the same word. So grace is like a gift, and in the ancient world, if you gave someone a gift, it wasn't really received unless they gave a return gift. And so in the Bible, when they talk about grace, they're talking about it in that context where we receive grace from God, but then there's a responsibility to give back a return gift. And for us, our return gift is faithfulness and allegiance, right? That I'm gonna trust you, that I'm gonna go with you, I'm gonna choose you no matter what, Jesus. And so I think that you need to see those types of things in someone to really know that they know Jesus and that they're saved. But again, ultimately, Jesus knows. In Romans, Paul says that God is proclaiming the good news through his creation. And so I think there's some unconventional ways let me just say this. I don't think everyone gets saved just because they sat down at the end of the service and prayed a certain prayer and said, Jesus, come into my heart. That's not like the magic equation for someone to be saved. The equation is saying, Jesus, I follow you, and then I live it out with my life, and in my actions, my thoughts, and my heart is for you, Jesus. And so I think that some people get saved in ways that would surprise us. I heard a story once of a guy who got saved reading the Quran in a mosque because he was reading a passage about Jesus. He had a revelation of Jesus, and he got saved. And so for us to say, oh, wow, there's a lot of good in that person's life, it may be true, and that may be coming from Jesus himself. Maybe that person, without even really understanding it fully, maybe they've put their faith in Jesus, and maybe they're going to find that out someday when someone tells them, like, no, this is the God that you're seeking. It's this God. But so I don't know the answer to that, but I think that ultimately the one thing I do know is that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and that there's no one going to be saved except through his name. So that's what we can rely on. And I'm thankful that Jesus is the judge. Another note earlier, I think this was Ariel talking about how encouraging it is that God doesn't call us to go through things that he's not willing to go through himself.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. And I think that was one of the big takeaways that I had as I was preparing for that message, is that, like, when we talk about suffering, like, Jesus went through the ultimate suffering for us. And Jesus, he traded the throne of heaven for the most excruciating death someone could die. He traded everything for nothing to be some no-name dude from a hick town in Israel, an occupied country. Like, and I think that it's important that we know that we're not doing things that God can't relate to us in, because again, sometimes we think God's above it. Jesus came and related to us in humanity. And I think that's a really cool thing.
That's good.
Okay, let's see. What else? Micah, if someone at school asks if God knows the future, then why does he let us do something wrong even though he knows what choice we're going to make? What would I answer? Well, your friend at school is like a philosopher, so that's pretty
cool. That's a deep question.
I think that, Micah, that's a great question, or Esther, whichever one of you. I think Micah was on the chat, but I think that's a great question, and I think that it's really deep, and a lot of people disagree about that question. And so I think that ultimately I'd say you should keep really searching God on that and asking him what he thinks, and learning and growing. There's so many good things to learn as we go, but I think there's a tension here. I think that God, he kind of knows about as much of the future that he wants to know. And then he also allows us to make decisions. And perhaps that means that he knows every possible outcome, but maybe he doesn't know exactly what choice you're going to make. Some people believe that. Other people are not comfortable with that, and they want God to know everything. And I'm not looking down on that at all. But I think that I would lean towards God is not necessarily planning everything out, because if you go that way, then you kind of have to believe that God kind of causes everything, good and bad. And so I think that God knows as much of everything that he wants to know, and he plans and makes things happen as much as he wants to. But I also think that he allows us to make wrong decisions because it allows us to also make right decisions. And he teaches us. It's not like he just like shames us, like you made a mistake. It's not like he's like, oh, like, look at you, you're such an idiot. Like, he doesn't do that. Like, he teaches us through the suffering. I think that's a pretty cool trait about God. But yeah, man, Mike, that's a great question. Isaiah, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, I just think that you're right about the idea of, like, God. If you believe that, like, God is in control of every single thing, then that means that he has to even be to blame for all the suffering in the world. And I think that you're right that it's not that God. I think Romans 8:28 is totally my verse to go to when it talks about this, is that God works together all the good, for the people that love him and for his glory. And somebody was preaching that verse one day, and I was like, and he said that means that there's going to be bad stuff that happens, but the deal is that even the bad, God works it for the good, and
that's right.
They brought up the story of Joseph, and they in Genesis 40, in the 40s somewhere, Joseph is like talking about him being sold into slavery. And in one verse, like literally, like in verse 15, it says, you sold me into slavery. In verse 16, it says, God sent me here. And somebody, and like I like was like sitting there like, oh my gosh, like which one is it? Did they choose to sell him into slavery, or did God send him to Egypt? And I'm like, it's both. Like it's totally both. Like God can take such a bad situation as like somebody being sold into slavery and work a divine and blessed plan out of that as saving a whole nation for 7 years. Like it's so awesome that God can do that. And I think that makes God more amazing, and that he can take even things that the enemy thinks is like gonna like totally stump God. Like that's all the enemy wants to do is try to like stop God. And God shows it every single day that he's gonna work everything for his good and our good. Like I love it. It's so good.
It's good.
Yeah, I think we got to rely on that verse, Romans 8, really all of Romans 8, but
Yeah.
8:28, man, it's just, this is what God does, man. It's so good. I love it. Love all these shout outs in the comments, and just, hey, let's keep growing. And Abraham said that someone stole a Bible, read it, and was convicted, gave their life to God. That's pretty cool, right? And I believe that the Bible is the most stolen book in the whole world, but hey, shouldn't we be happy about that, right? Because it allows someone to read it. It's pretty awesome. So it's good, guys. It's good. Hey, so some quick practicals on this too, because I want to make sure that we really have some practicals on it. I think Isaiah mentioned this earlier, but it's so important that we're honest with God. Like that the way we talk to God is our honest feelings, whether or not that's good or bad, right? Like God can take it. He can take whatever you say about him. He's heard it before, okay? And so I think we need to be honest to God when we're in suffering and when we're hurting and when we're saying, God, why won't you change this? Why won't you do something about this? And I believe that God really honors that actually by showing up and making things happen. And so I think it's important. I think
it's easy for us sometimes to like kind of shy away from lamenting and from being honest with God, because we think like, I mean, he already knows it anyway. So like, why would I even take the time to do it? Even if we're not consciously thinking that, sometimes that's our default mode. And I was just thinking of like a friend who like is going through something hard, or, you can tell something's wrong and they're not saying it to you, and it's like, I mean, I already know what's wrong, but it's so different when that friend takes the initiative to say something to me about it, or tell me exactly what's wrong. And I think that's the same with God. I think that, it's not like we need to tell God what's up, because he probably already knows what's up, but there's something that happens in relationship with God when we take the time to be honest with him, when we actually say the words that are on our heart. And it's not necessarily for God, but it shapes us when we take the time to do that. That's so I just want to encourage you guys to not shy away from that.
Yep.
In your prayer life.
So good. Yeah. That's really good.
I think another practical is not just like relying on like simplistic or like little nice sayings, because ultimately like we can't deny that this is a mystery, like this is a complex thing. And so there's not like a one-liner that you can say that just wraps it all up in a nice little bow, right? And so sometimes we feel pressure, like what if someone asks me about this, or like ask me why does God allow suffering? I don't know what to say. And I think that we don't need to rely on just like, oh yeah, it's just so simple, like here's the one answer. It's okay, just talk through it and say what you know about God, and that's enough, and lament and be with people in the weeping and in the hurting and the pain. And that leads to another practical of just run to the pain. Like Christians are called to run to the pain.
Yeah.
And so everybody else on earth is just trying to like limit their amount of pain, get as most comfort and security as possible. But the Christians are the ones who are called to run to the pain and be with people in the midst of the pain. Paul says in Romans, weep with those who weep. And so get inside people's hurting, suffering lives, because you wouldn't want someone to do that for you. And so I think that's a practical for us too. And the last one is just pray. Like, again, it's a mystery, but God is waiting on his people to pray. Like he's called us to pray. And so like right now we're in a suffering season, like the whole world is going through a suffering. And so the people of God must be praying. And so what if it's our prayers as Antioch Youth Ministry that changes things? Like what if it's our prayers that heal somebody? Like we need to do this. And one cool practical, and I'm going to send this on the chat here. One cool practical is there's this thing called Unite 714. It's talking about 2 Chronicles 7:14, and it's a cool thing. It's an initiative where a bunch of churches are uniting around prayer, and they're setting an alarm on their phone to pray at 7:14 a.m. and p.m. to pray that God would end the coronavirus. And so that's a cool practical for us. We're kind of jumping in as a church and letting people know. But hey, you can jump in individually. You can sign up on the website and say, like, I'm putting my name down. I'm going to pray. And so if you're not sure exactly like how you can contribute in this season, in the midst of suffering, then I'm telling you the way to do it is to pray. And so set that alarm on your phone. 7:14, guys, you can do it. AM, you're used to it back when you went to school, right? But, hey, even if you missed the 7:14, it's okay. Pray once in the morning and then pray at 7:14 p.m. and pray that God would do something and God would unleash something. And just know that thousands upon thousands of Christians are going to be praying at that exact moment that God would act and that God would change things. And so that's a really practical for us in the midst of suffering.
That's good. So
That's good. All right. Well, hey, I love all the stuff going on in the chat here. You guys are awesome. And hey, if you got any more thoughts or questions, please feel free to comment and we'll try and answer it before we finish. But for now, I think we're going to move to a competition.
Ooh, I got to get inside for this. I got to go inside for this.
Yeah. So last week, if anyone missed it, last week we did a competition. It was rock, paper, scissors, and for some reason, everybody thought that I was going to lose.
Some reason.
They destroyed me on our Instagram.
Some reason?
And because I lost, like thanks to y'all, pretty much, I had to make this my profile picture on Instagram. Can you see that? For a week.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see it.
Isaiah,
it's pretty great.
For president, the smart choice 2032. So, thankfully, I get to take that down tomorrow. Everybody thinks that I'm Isaiah on Instagram now. But we're going to try and do this every week. We're going to have a little competition, a friendly, not so friendly competition between me and Isaiah. And it's going to be, and there's going to be some sort of, some stake in the game here. And so I threw out a poll earlier on Instagram, and I asked everybody who do you think would win in a game of war between Graydon and Isaiah? And guess what happened? I won 82% to 18%, Isaiah.
Rigged. It's rigged.
This is my game, apparently.
Rigged.
All right.
That
all I gotta tell you.
Including Isaiah's vote for himself.
Yeah, Isaiah voted for himself, which again, I'm not sure on the morality of that, but whatever.
It's cool.
And so anyway, if anyone knows what the game of war is, you take a deck of cards, you draw what's on top, you go against each other, draw it at the same time, and whoever has the higher card wins that card. So here's what we're going to do. Through the screen, we are going to do a game of war. And it's going to be best of 5. And so you're trying to win 3 rounds. But here's the catch. If you lose a round, whatever number's on the card, you have to do that many push-ups. And we're gonna do a little push-up challenge in the midst of this game of war. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know if I can do 1 push-up because I don't know. It's just.
You don't know if you can do 1 push-up?
I've been sitting looking at a screen for like 15 hours every day.
So sad.
So I don't even know. Oh, Ian said last week, Graydon said he didn't care about the polls. Well, you know what? Things change, Ian.
That's accountability right there, Ian. Thank you for holding this man to his words.
I went through suffering last week, and so now I've changed my idea about the polls.
Why? Because you had this beautiful face on your Instagram? I don't really consider that suffering.
Apparently the polls worked because you defeated me last week, so I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is that this week is the underdog story.
Did you? I'm gonna shuffle it one more time. I'm not trying to rig anything. I just want to do like.
Sure, you're not trying to rig anything.
I'm gonna cut the deck.
Okay, Lauren's gonna coach me during these push-up times.
Everybody knows it happens.
Lauren's a great coach, although she's very intense. So
Lauren is very intense. Lauren is a very intense coach. Oh, she's making a face over here that she did not appreciate that comment.
What makes her such a winner?
Okay, are we all shuffled?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm shuffled.
See the cards, you just can't. Close your eyes. Okay, I'll just shuffle again. Oh, look
Okay.
who came for the competition.
Natalie just showed up. Want to say hi
Natalie's
to
been-
everybody?
Natalie's been babysitting herself.
Yeah,
Wow.
Natalie's been chilling.
I'm gonna go to the floor for this.
Natalie's getting ready to see her dad dominate. Okay,
Daddy's been sleeping for straight.
are we ready? I'm gonna need to have some space too. Maybe I'll never lose. Okay, are we ready?
Yeah, this is part of the game. What are you talking about? All right, we're ready.
I'm watching your.
All right, here we go.
Lauren's watching the form. Okay, here we go. I'm ready.
Ready? 1,
Yeah.
2, 3. Oh no! Oh no!
It's a 7. It's a 7.
Oh,
I
good.
lost. I have to do
Yeah, you have to do
7
7 push-ups.
7 push-ups.
Let's see it.
Oh.
Let's see it, bro.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh, this is terrible right here. I am wearing flip-flops. I gotta take these off. Okay.
Take off the flip-flops, bro.
All right.
Let me see some
Hold
good
up, I gotta
form.
make sure. I'm not gonna hit anything. You should be moving this much during push-ups anyway. All right, here we go. My dog's gonna come in the camera. Here we go. 7. Here we go. 1, 2, 3,
3. Don't laugh.
All the way down.
6, 7. I did 7. All right.
Told you she was a tough coach.
Oh, she said all the way down.
All right, here we go. Next one.
All right, here we go. Round 2. I'm feeling good, man.
Here we go.
1,
Yeah.
2, 3. Ah!
Oh,
gosh.
this is rigged.
Oh, yes.
Totally rigged.
Hey. Instagram's never wrong,
I got
people.
you 6. Oh, all right, here we go.
6 push-ups. Let's go,
Let's
bro.
Isaiah. You
6
got this.
push-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4,
4, 5.
5, 6.
Feel the burn, man.
Here we go. Next one.
I like that Isaiah's just already on the ground.
I was
He's like
prepared.
prepared.
You're just ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
This is so rigged.
Wow.
This is rigged.
Wow.
So rigged. Okay, this is rigged.
Y'all
Hey,
saw me shuffle.
She shuffled like 1,000 times.
I shuffled a lot.
Oh.
Hey.
Here we go. 8. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Congratulations,
Yes,
Isaiah.
Boom.
Yes.
Well done. Well done.
Well, turns out that Instagram was fairly right on the polls.
So
Again.
was that the punishment, or do I have to do something else?
Bro, no, you got punished, man. I mean, unless you want to be punished more,
No, I'm okay. I don't need to do anything.
unless you need some more suffering in your life.
Okay, let me see what my next card would have been. It would have been a 9. Oh, I would have won. I would have had a 2 for the next card,
Yeah, you would have lost again.
6.
and then I would have had a queen. This is the only face card that I've
Right
had.
die.
Oh.
Apparently, you're not very good at war, man. Sorry, I don't know what that says about me that I'm good at war. I feel like I'm a little bit more peaceful than that.
Rigged.
Eric with the hashtag rigged. Excuse me, sir. We are a very ethical youth ministry, and my wife, she did all the shuffling.
I did. I'm
And she
super
wanted-
Christian.
She wanted to see me do push-ups, so I'm just saying, like,
It's totally rigged.
it's not rigged.
It's rigged. I think next week I'm gonna do the whole thing from the floor. I actually like this. You know, it's a good look. You know.
Don't be weird, man. Come on. Well, apparently, yeah, Graydon for president. That's what I'm talking about. I'm about to beat you in 2032 as well. What if
Oh,
we
is that
ran-
what we're doing? We're gonna go against each other for the presidential race?
Yeah, and then whenever one of us gets elected, we're like, nah, actually, the other person's my vice president.
That
Now that would be a rigged election right there.
would be great. That'd be so good.
Plot twist. Well, what we've learned tonight is that God is with us through suffering, and Instagram polls are always correct. So,
So
I'm
vote
really
for
glad-
Isaiah next week, and yeah, that works.
That's good.
Black and white.
What Isaiah suffered, he learned from, says Ian, and I agree. I hope that you learned something tonight, Isaiah.
I learned to go all the way down.
Chloe
Go all the
says
way down.
Lauren for president. That's
Oh, someone said Lauren.
Yes, first woman president.
Lauren, you can do it. 2032. Let's go.
2.
2032 is going to be a good year.
If I'm gonna run against my wife in 2032, it's gonna be a big deal. It's gonna be
What do
a
you want? A black man or a
sounds like
another black
very-
man or a woman. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe by then we'll have 3 parties and we can do me versus you versus Lauren, and we'll just see who wins.
We'll see who
I'll
wins.
make everybody cookies.
Oh,
Christina, you
Let's stay friends.
so sweet. I love it.
Christina
Okay,
said, "I'll make everything."
Okay, my friends. That is it for our live show tonight, Wednesday live. Thanks for hanging out with us. Now, a few things before we finish. First of all, I want you to share our teaching with 3 of your friends, okay? I'm sure you got 3 friends who need some encouragement during this time. They maybe feel isolated. They're not understanding, like, what's going on? What did I do to deserve this? And so they need to see an encouraging word on suffering. And so share it with 3 friends, and we'd love for them to see it. Make sure you hit subscribe. Don't forget, next week is Easter Holy Week. And so we're doing an Easter giveaway if you come and hang out with us live. And so make sure you do that. As always, we're going to drop the teaching on Wednesday morning, and we'll go live at 7. And I'm pretty sure that's all I had to say. So subscribe. Let's get this thing to 100 subscriptions. And we love hanging out with you guys online on this digital youth ministry.
Boom.
And we love you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget, if you feel too afraid to share something about Jesus or to reach out to a friend, the worst thing that could happen is that a friend thinks you're weird. But the best thing that could happen is that they fall in love with Jesus and their life gets rocked and they get freed from suffering and from sin patterns and from loneliness.
Come on.
And so don't
Mm.
shy away from sharing Jesus with your friends ever, but especially right now in a time where people can so easily feel isolated and alone.
Mm.
That's good. That's good.
That's good. That's
I love
good.
it. Hey,
no,
High
don't
School
bring
Life
my
Group.
keeps back.
High School Life Group is going to be tomorrow at 6:30 on Zoom, and we're going to have a lot of fun on there. So make sure you check that out. And junior high, we're going on Mondays at 4 on Zoom. And so we're doing this thing, this digital youth ministry. So glad y'all are along for the ride.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir.
we love everybody.
Love you
All right.
guys.
Oh,
See y'all later.
Bye.